Good morning, everybody. I am impressed that you are here this early on a Saturday morning. So, my name's Sebastian Gorka. I'm a legal immigrant to the United States. And I was strategist to the 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Now, when I meet a wonderful group of people like yourselves, the first thing they always say is, wow, you're taller than we thought. Second thing is, what's he really like? They always ask me, what's the president really like? Well, let me tell you. I first met Donald Trump when he was a candidate. In the summer of 2015, I get a phone call from a guy called Corey. Corey Lewandowski says, Mr. Trump has a national security debate coming up in the GOP, a series of debates, and he'd like to talk to somebody about national security. Are you free? Can you come to New York? And I thought, sure. So I jumped on a plane, flew to New York, met in Mr. Trump, then Mr. Trump's office. It was just the three of us. He was sitting at his desk. Corey was over here. And if you want to know what this man is like in private, well, guess what? If you've been breathing and had a pulse for the last 40 years, you know who Donald Trump is. Why? Because when you switch on the television, whether it's on his own show, whether it's here at the podium, whether it's a stump speech, that is Donald Trump. There's no private persona. There's no, oh, I'm really going to be like this behind closed doors, and in public I'm going to be different. What you saw yesterday here, that magnificent speech, that is pure Trump. And wasn't it fabulous? That moment, it's always my favorite moment when I see it, when he goes, he actually said this yesterday, he said, this speech is so boring, I'm gonna get off auto cue. I'm gonna just talk to you guys, right? That's who he is. He wants to connect. Why? Because he loves all of you. Why does he love you? Because you're all Americans. Irrespective of your skin color, irrespective of whether you're an immigrant, irrespective of whether you go to church or synagogue, he loves you, and he is a patriot. That's who Donald Trump is. But to finish the story about my first meeting, so we're sitting there, and we are blue skying about national security. We're all over the place. We're talking about the Middle East, the Civil War, you name it. Halfway through the conversation, he just stops, looks at Corey, and says, I like this guy. Let's hire him. That's Donald Trump. Decisiveness. He knows what he wants, and he gets it, and he's a fighter. And that's why you need to know, and this is something my good friend Larry O'Connor said to me yesterday. Do you understand what happened yesterday here in this room? The 2018 campaign began, right? And you better listen to the president, because we are not going to allow the standard complacency to get the Democrats, the House, and the Senate. We're not going to let them do it. It's always the same. We won in November. Okay, we've got the guy in. We like him. He's great. So we don't need to go and vote in the midterms. Wrong. You must vote, and you must get your friends out there. Because remember, if you ever had a doubt that God exists, guess what? November the 8th is all the proof you need. Why? Why? Because she had it all. She had the media. She spent $1.4 billion on a seat, on a position she thought was owed to her because of her gender and her last name, right? But she lost. And as my good friend Chris Plant, best morning show, listen to Chris Plant on the radio. Every time, every morning, it's a dose of sanity. Chris reminds us on his show. And you know what? She's still not president. You need to understand that what General Mike Flynn, that great patriot, said about November the 8th is true. What happened in this great nation, the greatest nation on God's earth, is that we had a political revolution. A peaceful one, but a political revolution. This man brought us back from the brink. We didn't have 2 wheels over the edge of the cliff. We had 3 wheels over the edge of the cliff. If she had won, that was it. From Supreme Court on down, that was it. We would have lost our republic. But what else do you need to know about this man? I'll give you another story. We flew on Air Force One with the president to Youngstown, Ohio, last summer. Now, Youngstown, Ohio is Steel Valley, okay? We land at the base, we get into the convoy with the beast, we've got a 20-minute drive to the stadium. For the whole 20 minutes, what do we see? On the one side, disused steel mill after disused steel mill, closed down factory after closed down factory. On the other side, Americans lining up with flags, okay? This is the heart of what? Democrat, working class, real America. We get to the stadium, and I'm there before the boss, because, you know, we have to get there before the boss, doing selfies with everybody. It's great fun. And I know 99% of the people in that stadium were registered Democrats. Their parents were registered Democrats. Their grandparents were registered Democrats. But when Melania came out onto the stage, when the president came out onto the stage, the stadium exploded. It erupted. USA, USA, drain the swamp. Think about that for a second. How is that possible? How is that possible in Steel Valley? Why? Because these salt-of-the-earth Americans look at that man and they say, yeah, he's a billionaire. Yeah, he's the most famous man in the world. But you know what? If I had $1 billion, I'd be just like him. I'd be eating Big Macs on Air Force One like he does. Who doesn't love a Big Mac, right? This man is a patriot, and I'll give you an example of just how he thinks and operates. Did you hear him yesterday on the Second Amendment? Did you hear what he said? He said, we will never, ever let them take your rights away. That's not a talking point. That's who he is. Look at the decision. He mentioned it yesterday on Jerusalem. I can tell you because I've been in touch with the cabinet. I talked to the president. Very few people at the highest level of the US government supported the president on the decision to move the embassy to Jerusalem and to recognize Jerusalem as the eternal capital of the Israeli nation, which it is. But you know what the president said to all those people inside the building who are pushing back, saying, you can't do that, it'll be a disaster. He said, you know what? I promised the American people, I promised our best friends in the Middle East, our Israeli friends, and you know what? And this is Donald Trump, it's the right thing to do. That's who he is. And have faith, have faith. This man is a fighter. He will never give up. We're going to have, you heard it yesterday, 7 years of Trump, okay? 7 more years. And then 8 years of President Pence. Because we need a minimum of 16 years to get back our republic. We had 8 years of stultifying political correctness, social engineering, where the feds told you which bathroom you could use. It's insanity. Treating our military like pariahs, experimenting on them with their social engineering garbage. Well, that ended. This president has our military's back, and they know it. They know it. All right, I'm getting a little bit excited. I'm going to calm down. Now, I want you to visualize a membership card, like an NRA Life member card. I want you to understand, I didn't bring them, but you all in here now, everybody who came here, the thousands of people who have been here for the last 3 days, are now officially members of Team Trump. And I don't want you to just think, oh, I'm going to go and vote in November. You have to get everybody else you know to vote. Take 5 people with you to the polling station, because we cannot lose the republic. And you need to understand that you have a job beyond voting, and that's to help us on Team Trump. People inside the White House, outside the White House, push back on the fake news. They're liars. Whether it's CNN, Washington Post, hold the line, push back. Remember, we are only at the beginning of FISA-gate, which eventually will be Obama-gate. Okay? And it's not the Ben Rhodeses of the world, it's not the John Brennans, it's not the Susan Rices who are only culpable for the criminal regime we had that spied on Americans illegally. Guess what? Somebody had to let them. And it's the last president of the United States. So hold the line, push back on the fake news, and ladies and gentlemen, all you millennials especially, have faith. Have faith. Hold the line. Let's hear it for CPAC, for Matt, for Dan, for Ian. God bless all of you, and God bless America!